again to this live request art tutorial, and today we are following the theme of the Lord of the Rings. I think we're all big fans of that particular fantasy novel, film, whatever your favorite medium, but today we're going to draw a couple of famous characters, and I just want to start by drawing Legolas. He's one of my favorites, and we've got him holding his bow and arrows, so we're just going to pop that in there, and then I'm going to add some color and light and shade. So this tutorial is really for you, and you can have some fun learning tips and tricks that I'm going to pass on to you. And Dean Lord 2, hello Dean in London, nice to meet you. If you've got any requests, please feel free to write to me. Okay, so we've got his bow there, and we need to put some arrows, and I think they kind of live up here, and they're shaped. He's got special shaped arrows. Do they go like that? I think we'll change. That's right. And we love how in the movie he never runs out of arrows. That's the best thing about these fantasies movies, is you never run out of ammo. Okay, so I'm actually doing a little detail here to make it look more like a fancy Legolas elf sword, and then I'm going to show you how we add color. So this is a app called Procreate, and I'm just cheating a little because this allows me to show you live very quickly how to do art. But if you imagine you're at home and you've got a limited paper and pencil, I'll also talk you through how to do this sort of work, but the app allows me to show you quickly, and you can always rewind and play the video again later, so don't feel like you're being rushed. You can always stop and start, but the idea is that you're learning in a relaxed atmosphere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you light and shade. So I've actually colored in. So once you draw you can trace your character that you want to draw. Then we color in, and now I'm going to overlay with lighter colors and darker colors. So we know that the light is coming from his left side. This is where I'm always saying in my tutorials that a picture has to have a sort of a story, and that means, in the sense that light is coming from one side, and so you have to have shading on the other side. And if you miss something out, the eye and the brain will look at it and go, that's not quite right. So that's what I mean by a story. You've got to know where the light's coming from, and then you play on that, and you can produce some rather amazing works of art, and everyone's impressed, and you can show your family and friends. And you can also share your work with us, by the way, by sending it to @quicktodraw.co.uk, and that will go on our Instagram gallery, which we really would love to see your work. So all I'm doing here is just adding shade where I think the light is not able to reach, if that makes sense. So I know that he's probably a bit tired, so we're going to add some bags, slight bags, although he is perfect. Hey Bob, oh yes, Gollum. Okay, so we have had a request for Gollum, and that's probably my favorite character, because he's sort of doesn't want to be a baddie, but he has a split personality, and I think with lockdown we can all relate to him right now. Okay, so then I'm going to color his hair in yellow, but let's remember that blonde hair is not this color, okay? But I am doing a base color. And when I finish this, I'll just add a little bit of the eye in the background with the volcano and make it a bit darker. So you'll see this picture finished, and then I must do Gollum next because this is a live request, and I'm definitely going to do that for you, Bob. Okay. And mustn't forget the ponytail, that's here. Now the reason why I'm doing a light color like this, or a bright yellow, is that I want to show you how you can calm it down quite nicely with a slightly darker yellow. I'm just trying to find a good yellow. Let's just go straight to adding a bit of white. So we know that he's got light on his right shoulder, and we're just going to tone all that yellow out very gently, and then we know that a bit of light, because the sun is on this side where his arrow is, and now we're going to, oddly enough, and this is how you do blonde hair, is you use quite a dark color. So I'm just going to show you maybe as dark as that, and we're going to add that here, and this is the dark side. So blonde is an interesting color to draw because we think it's yellow, and it's not. It's lots of colors. So if you really want to get a fantastic picture of someone's hair, we're going to go even darker now because the light isn't touching. You want to impress people, this is how you do blonde hair. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of an orangey color. Let's go a bit over here. If you do have an iPad and you want to also draw, the Procreate app is amazing. It's a little bit more expensive, but you really get a fantastic app. Just going to do more blonde, or white, sorry. And even if you don't have a stylus pen, that's what I'm holding here, you can actually make one. If you look up online, you can make a stylus, and you can dip it in water. It's basically a cotton bud attached to a pen, and you stick it and you dip it into water, and it's the electricity energy coming out of your hand that creates the electricity, and it really works. It's on one of my videos. Okay, so I've made the white of his eyes, and probably should give him a little bit of color. So that's good. There we go. So a lot of the color that's going on here, I'm pressing very, very gently, because Legolas is very pretty and soft face. We don't want to make him look too masculine, and we don't want to make him look too feminine either. And we all have a little bit of pink in our face, especially if we've been fighting all sorts of baddies. So I'm now going to do really quickly some block coloring, and we'll get this down as quickly as we can. So he's got a lot of brown that he's wearing, and then I'll quickly show you the background. So what I'm doing is I'm actually blocking out this whole area that I'm coloring in, and then adding some details, and then I'll add the background very quickly. And the reason why I'm doing this quickly also is that I want you to learn how to draw quickly and not to be precious about your artwork, if that makes sense. Sometimes people spend so much energy trying to get it right the first time, and we don't We don't learn anything by being perfect. In fact, when we learn is when we make mistakes. I should know that at my age. But the most important thing is to get started. So I would very much like to see your artwork. Send it to me. This is interactive, so you can write and we'll write back to you. Okay, so we're doing the gloves, and then we're going to add some highlights. Bearing in mind the whole time that the story is that the light is coming from his right. Okay. Now I'm going to color in this arm bit because it's actually grey, or browny grey colour. Righty-ho. Let's add some shading, and we can do the background. And I've got this wonderful button called Luminous that will allow me to create a what we call a fiery effect. Okay. So I hope anyone who's watching and just enjoys art and doesn't need to be drawing but would like to be entertained, we have all sorts of videos of all sorts of characters, going from we did Star Wars the other week, and oh, Dean Lord, oh, Sauron as well. Oh my goodness, I will do Sauron Dean. I'd love to know what your name means. Dean Lord, Lord of Darkness, or Lord of Light. Okay, so now we're pretty much there, and I'm going to block this. It's called the alpha lock, and I'm going to add some shading. So here we go, we've got the light here. This makes me look very, very skilled indeed, but actually it's a lovely trick. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so we've got the light coming here. I'll just block this out a bit. And we've got the no light coming here, so I'm going to make this whole side darker. And here. And this is darker. And there's no light here, so we make that darker. Can you see how this all works? And it just adds that bit of drama. And I'm leaving the top of this glove and this here. I'll add some more light in a minute to the leather. You'll see how it all comes together. Okay, and now we're going to go lighter up here, let's say. We're going to add, yeah, that's working. And because this is all leather, so we don't want to make it too busy. And light coming there. So that's pretty much it. I'll take the alpha lock off now. So that made me look really amazing. And I'm just tidying up a bit. And we've got the hair here, so I'm just going to let that, I'm actually erasing bits to make it look more dramatic. Okay, so we've got Legolas, and he's looking fabulous. I'm now going to take one more layer behind, and I'm going to put in a very dark background, and we're going to add the mountain doom. I'm going to leave him a little bit lighter right behind him so he's not disappearing. And then, where should we put Mount Doom? I think if the light's coming from his left shoulder, then we probably should have, well, for drama, we're going to put it right behind him. So let's put it here. I think you can see it. And we're going to leave some that looks like clouds around the mountain. I hope you can see that. And now I'm going to add the luminous. This is my favorite button of all. And we're going to use a bright yellow. Let me find a yellow. Here we go. And volcanic. Here we go. And I'm, again, like blonde hair, I'm going to add to this with layers of color. So we know that lava, oops, didn't like that. Just going to do the red. There we go. So we've got lava coming down. Isn't that a great button? And of course it fades out and there's all this smoke coming out. All right. And with the clouds, we want to create, I think we're just going to create a bit of white heat in the middle here. There we go. Can you feel the heat coming off that now? And then there's I'm just going to do a light grey with the airbrush again. Don't want to do too much. And again, the story, we know that the light is coming from his shoulders, so the clouds, the light is only touching this, again, the side of the mountain, the volcano. Okay, and I'm just bringing that over here, and I might actually make this a little bit lighter. So we've got some more cloud. So I could do this for hours, so we'll just call it a day, and we're going to do Gollum next. How does that look? All right, so we've got Legolas, and they've just thrown the ring into the volcano, and everyone's happy, so that's good. So I'm going to pinch these all together, and now we're going to start on Gollum. And this time I'm going to use a dark background, and you might see my ugly mug reflecting on the the photograph here. So just ignore that. And this time I'm going to do sort of a skin color. Oops, sorry, let's go back. I'm in the wrong. I'm going to do a skin color, and we're going to do his whole body hunched over. And now I'm going to show you how to do composition where you can make it more dramatic. So now we're just going to do a solid base. This is legs, and I'm going to keep this really, really simple. You can see that's him already. Now the actor, I do know the actor is a British actor, and he's now a consultant on what they call motion capture, which is because he was so amazing. I think he's won Oscars and things for his portrayal of this glorious character, and he went on to do, I think it was Planet of the Apes, or the new version where he plays Caesar, the gorilla. I love that movie. It was amazing. And then he's King Kong. I remember that. So he was two characters in King Kong. He was one of the sort of sailors who gets munched, and he was also King Kong himself. So he played as a normal actor, a character in that, and then King Kong. I wonder if that's allows him to be in the Guinness Book of Records. He was also in Black Panther. So you can imagine that was nice for him to be just an actor. So now we know we've got Gollum quite clearly here, and I'm going to sort of do block color just to try something different and to challenge you. So I'm now going to do a color background just so we have atmosphere, and we're going to do probably a blue sky. So I'm just going to see how I've got layers, and I can draw behind. I'm going to keep the jagged rocks. One of the things I found, I'm going to keep them grey. One of the things that I found hard to watch was when they were hanging over precipices. So it was sort of always on the edge of some steep, dangerous rock. Couldn't watch those scenes. So I'm also playing on light and shadow for drama. Okay, so we know that this grey area underneath him is where his shadow will land or fall. That's probably the word I should use. Okay, and there we go. On the edge, I'm going to add some clouds. I'm going to use some of that white. Just going to tidy this up a bit. So he's standing on the edge. Again, this is the idea of a story. I'm keeping some of that grey in there, by the way. We know that the light, where should we have the light coming from? So if we've got the shadow underneath him, let's move that shadow over a bit over here. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so we've got him standing on something. That's part of the story. We've got the atmosphere that he's high up and there's clouds and wind, and we're now going to draw over the top of this area. I'm going to block it out a bit with the alpha lock, and that allows me to do a darker color. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So I want the light to come around here. Just tidy that up a bit. You're probably thinking, what's she doing? She's ruining it. But don't worry. So we've got the light coming down here. His foot is in the shade. One of the fun things about having a themed art lesson is that it takes a little bit of the stress of what you're drawing away, because you're relaxing, because you're thinking of the character that you're drawing rather than, is this right? Am I doing this right? I'm a big believer in art classes and all that, but also I think people should draw the things that they love. So if you're a budding artist and you're 15 years old and you don't really have any interest in drawing pot plants, then draw this. Draw your favorite characters. You know, there's no rules in art. You can do whatever you want on art. Okay, so I think you can see what's happening here now. We're getting some of the light. We're keeping in mind of where the light's coming from. Just going to outline that a bit. Might make his arms a bit skinnier. Okay. And then we've got his leg. And one of the other beautiful things about working on a subject that you like is, I said yesterday in one of my tutorials that I used to learn all my anatomy off comic strips. So if you love comic strips, then that's a very good place to learn about anatomy, because the artists who do those comic strips are hugely talented. So Gollum, I think I'm going to narrow his face a bit. And it looks a little bit here like he's got a pointy head, so we don't want to do that. Smooth that out. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put some more of his personality in there. His beady eyes. And then that growling face. I thought in The Hobbit, where he's having a conversation with Bilbo in a down in sort of the depths of the earth, that was for me the scariest Gollum incident or scene, where you just felt that Bilbo was going to be eaten at any point or killed. And it was very powerful, but it wasn't a fight scene, which is very rare to have a moving, emotional scene where you're on your edge in all these action movies. Okay, so we are starting to see light and shade. I'm just going to do the knee. And of course I've got to put those little pants on him. So another snippet that I'm not sure is true, but I think Tolkien was born in South Africa, which is where we're right now filming from, Johannesburg, and Bloemfontein. And the South Africans love to say that they, how many toes has he got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Anyway, we'll give him as many toes as he likes. Yeah, so that South Africans say that he got his ideas of the landscape from the Drakensberg. But I think he left South Africa when he was 3 years old. So, but I do know that he was a conservationist. So a lot of his writings later in his life were his concerns about industrialization. So what a life though. He lived in a beautiful part of England. I think his father died in Africa, and so they were ended up back in England, penniless. Okay, so I'm just going to cheat a bit. I'm going to add some light in here, and now I'm just going to add those frowns and things, those little details. And I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do, because we do want to do Sauron. Get that right. If there's any enthusiasts, Lord of the Ring enthusiasts, I really don't want to make any pronunciations that are incorrect. Okay, and I guess you're all probably screaming at the screen right now going, what about the little strands of hair? I am going to put those in. So I'm just going to lengthen his face a little bit. And those teeth. Oh, he does look nasty. What a sad, sad character he was. In love with something that he would never be able to possess. Okay, so I'm just going to add a bit of black now, just to make it a bit more dramatic. And then we're pretty much done with the strands of hair, of course. So now we've created quite a bold, strong image with not too much effort, if that makes sense, because what you're focusing on is the story, as in, not as in Lord of the Rings, but the story of where the light's coming from. So now we know he's at the top of a mountain, peering down on probably Frodo, and there we go. So we've got some, oops, don't know what happened there. Okay, drama as, oh, and the hair. That's let's do this. I'm going to show you the hair now, and I think this is the bit that gives the knowledge that we've got wind. He's on a windy mountain. Well, that might be too strong. There we go. All right, how's that, everyone? Now Sauron, I shall do now. Okay, so let's pinch that all together, and now we're going to do Sauron. And this one I'm going to do very quickly for you. We've got bold black, and I'm going to use the calligraphy pen, and we're just going to do structure. So the last one was quite soft brush. This one's structure. Oh, thank you, Bob. I got a super. We like that. Now this is where all the trouble began. So I'm just going to do this quick one for you. See if you can guess what I'm drawing right now. So this is somebody's hand, but I think you know who it is because I already told you. But the scene, let's see if you can, there we go. And I'm going to now use that wonderful luminous pen again. I'm going to make it, can you see how it makes it shine? I'm going to add that red again. There we go. So that, to me, looks quite hot. A little bit of white in the middle. There we go. All the trouble for that ring. And, right, just do the hand a little bit more big like that. Okay. And then we're going to, I think, if you're a Lord of the Rings lover or fanatic, then we all love the sort of the helmet and the armor and all those things. So I'm going to draw that for you, and I'm also teaching you a little bit about how to create drama in a composition. So I've actually made his head very, very small, and we're going to create this dramatic scene because his hand is closer to us, so we want to make that enormous and terrifying, and there I'm giving you a little lesson on perspective. And again, the trick is to get started. I do want to make him look menacing, so I better do lots of lines. And okay, So that's the skull, I think. That should do it. I'm just going to get rid of that dot. Perfectionist. And when I color this in, again, I'll be using that alpha lock. If you ever want to learn about any of these apps, I taught myself through YouTube. So that is a little trick, is you just get very good at search words. And there are so many things out there now that will help you. And then also, and I think I say this every time, I did practice every night for half an hour. And that is with everything in life. If you want to get good at something, you do have to put the hours in, but it's always worth it. But the trick is to get started. And it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. Please never throw your artwork away. That is my one thing I keep going on about, because you will be surprised when you go back at how good you really were. And again, it depends on how much effort you make. And effort doesn't have to be hard work. Hard work is when you go into work every day and you hate your job. That is hard work, and doing that every day. But doing something that you love, but doing it often, is what makes the difference. Okay, so I've got all this drama going on. I've got the hands enormous, and I'm just going to color that in for you now. So I'm going to actually block this into a lighter color. Okay, so we got, again, the light is coming from this side. You're all now experts now that you've watched this. So we've got light coming in, light, and I probably will have to do the volcano again in the background, just to make this really stand out. This is a classic sort of comic strip type drawing, because it's very dramatic and it has lots of light reflecting off things, and that's really all you have to do. It doesn't have to be much more than what I'm doing now. Right, and then we're coming up to the end, and I hope you've all learnt lots and lots about art. I've even left it quite rough, and now I'm just going to do the background behind again, and I'm really going to make that nice and dark. Oops, I need black. There we go. Okay, and again for the drama, I'm not doing too much on the actual figure. Dean Lord, I will put these on my, oh, okay, profile pictures. Love that. Thank you, I'm very flattered. So I'm going slightly behind. Drama, drama, drama. You know what? I might just leave out the volcano, because I think this is dramatic enough, and composition is a big part of a picture, and if I put the volcano in, it will just take away from the ring, which is what Lord of the Rings is all about. Okay, thank you very much. We'll be around the same time tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Bye.